Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now today I want to talk to you about the somewhat unusual topic of becoming more interesting in your life. Because I think the interesting man is a magnetic man who can walk into a room and even though he doesn't try to dominate that room, immediately he is somebody that people want to know more. They want to understand more about him. They want to hear his stories and stand next to him and be a part of the whole experience. Because if you're interesting, you have the qualities that people want to get close to in life. Now, if you're a person who is locked into the ordinary routines of life, and to you, spending time becoming more interesting seems like something of an extravagance. It's something you don't have time for. You're, fiercely pushing towards your ambitious goals in life. Well, I think you're missing out on an opportunity, because to be more interesting to people around you means that you will lose the opportunity to open doors which your hard work and talent fail to open. But if you're interesting, you have the curiosity to learn more about people around you, and people will want to learn more about you also. And that certainly opens doors. So why does being interesting matter at all? Surely, isn't it just putting on a show for people when you're in, company around other folks? Well, I would say the exact opposite is the case. Being interesting is something which starts within you, with a curiosity for you to discover more about yourself, and in so doing, you will develop the rich character traits which people find attractive. And don't forget, the interesting person has a number of qualities which I think we would all seek to have in our lives. Firstly, he is the person that people listen to when he speaks. He is the person who is remembered by others. He also finds it fairly easy to build a rapport with people, either in his personal life or in his professional life. And all of these things, when combined, make a very attractive package, which people find inspirational when he's around. And this is a quality which I think we would all like. And don't forget, when you're interesting, it's not just about other people. You will find your own life more interesting as well. So I'm going to give you 3 tips today that I employ in my own life journey to try and make myself more interesting for other people. Yes, of course, it's about other folks, but primarily it is about me. I'm trying to make my own life more interesting, because you only get one life and you really want to make the most of it. Now, I would say that men who are on a journey to being more interesting, one of the things which is essential is to cultivate a habit of curiosity. Because interesting men tend to know things. And it is not just through an inherent God-given intelligence. It is because interesting people are interested in the world around them. They read more. They are curious about the things that go on around them, and they put in place a number of steps to ensure that their knowledge is enhanced and improved all of the time. Now, the first thing which we can all do, it doesn't cost a lot of money and it doesn't cost a lot of time, but it can significantly increase your ability to hold, salient conversations with people on a variety of topics. And that, quite simply, is to read more. Whether that's reading a newspaper or certainly reading a book or a novel all the time. Right? I've always got 1 or 2 books on the go at any given time. But the key is, don't just stick to your comfort zone when it comes to reading. Remember, there's a whole world of subjects out there. So if you like to read, trashy fiction, every other book add in something factual, a biography, a political sort of autobiography, whatever it might be, world history. But every other book that you read, make it a point to read something a little bit outside your comfort zone. It nudges you to have this much broader knowledge of the world around you. And also, another thing you can do is to make it a point to learn something new and interesting to you at least once a week. So if you're going through life and you discover, a topic in the newspaper that's something that you've never thought about before, delve into it, do a little bit of research, become a mini expert in a subject every week. And before you know, you're going to build up quite a broad spectrum of things which you can talk with conviction with the next time you're in a social gathering or a networking event in work. These things all add up and certainly add to your depth as an interesting man. And another little tip, when you're interacting with people, having a conversation, don't be the guy who opens every conversation with a new acquaintance with the simple question, "So what do you do?" I've heard it a million times, and after all these years, it's fallen a little bit flat. Try and ask something a little bit more challenging. Now, it can be anything at all. But just recently, I've been playing around with a few quite interesting opening gambits for conversations. Over the last week, when I meet people, after we've got over the introductions, I've now asked them this question. So, tell me, if you had the ability to travel back in time to any point in history, where would you go and why? And I tell you what, it is eliciting some amazing responses from the people that I meet. But of course, you can use that one, take it as a gift from me, or choose some question which is interesting or relevant to you. And it really gets people thinking before they answer, and it makes them remember you as an interesting person. Now, the next thing you can do on your journey to being more interesting is do things which give you a story to tell. Because from what I can see, experience is what builds character, and character is what makes you an interesting person. So it is, just getting out there and giving things a try, doing a bit of travel, taking a risk now and again, doing something new. Because if you do that, it puts a bit of texture on your life. You're not just one-dimensional. You've got a lot going on, and there's a lot more to discover when people talk to you, and really, that's what makes you interesting. So how can you do that? Well, I would suggest taking on a challenge which takes a little bit of effort and a little bit of learning to achieve. It can be going on a journey, a travel to a country far away that you've always wanted to go and not many other people have visited in your orbit of influence. It'll give you something to talk about for years and months ahead. It can be hiking a trail in your own country or further afield. If you want to, go on a journey of discovery, climbing a mountain, it's a great way to achieve a challenge. It can be something like building some garden furniture, building a table, doing whatever. But these little challenges all perform the job of making the picture far richer in your own personality, and people will like that. And along those same lines, you can try one life-expanding activity every month. Now, that could mean just going to a meeting of a group that that happens in your community, but you've never been there. A Rotary Club, a Women's Institute, a University of the Third Age. There are different clubs all over the world. They all do things which you're not sure of. They meet there, but you've never gone along. Give it a try. What have you got to lose? It's one evening of your life, and even if it's a total failure, you can talk about that failure in future. It just brings together all that richness of your character. And similarly, volunteering for things, giving your time selflessly, is something which people find interesting and inspirational. So, if you volunteer for a charity in your local community, a little bit of time, you give money to them, you give your time to them, you support them. It's what people love to hear. It enriches you, it enriches the world around you, and it makes you a more interesting person. And the last of my 3 tips that I suggest that you can invest a little bit of time in if you want to be more interesting is learn how to communicate well. Show the world that you are a fascinating guy, because you might be the most interesting man in the world. But if you don't have the ability to put that across to people with conviction, with calmness, with confidence, your interestingness could be totally lost. So how do you do that? Well, first of all, become a good active listener. because people love nothing more to be heard. So always remember, when you're interacting with somebody in a conversation, make sure they get the opportunity to talk as much as they want, to get their story across. It can be very difficult sometimes because you're standing there thinking, I want to break in. I want to put my observations and my thoughts out there for other people to hear. And you can, but wait for the other person to finish talking first. Wait until they feel that they have been fully heard by you, and then put your salient points across to them, and they will think they've had a wonderful conversation. Now, another excellent tip for you when it comes to communication, and I can speak with conviction here because I've been a professional public speaker for around about 12 years, is quite simply speak more slowly. Right? Slow down. Speak with genuine intention, as if every word has meaning. Take time to articulate your words. Don't rush along and speak so quickly that you end up using slang and cutting words off midway through your conversation. Use the tone of your voice as if it were a musical instrument. But the best way to do it is just to slow down. Use the silences in between your words to add gravitas to what you're saying. And if you can speak like that, people want to hear you. They think you have something very interesting to say. Now, another thing you can do when you're putting your interesting life experiences across to people is phrase them as stories. Take your experience and give it a beginning, a middle, and an end. And that is a great way of telling any story. Don't just throw a little snippet out there, because you're losing the opportunity to tell your full story and make it land with people. So remember, set the story up, a little bit of a beginning, give it the punchline, then give it the end so that people understand what you've said. And finally, if you can inject a little bit of humor into it, particularly a bit of self-depreciating humor, like, oh, I was walking down the street, I slipped and I fell flat on my ass. And if you can laugh about yourself, people will feel happy to laugh about you too. And it's a great way of building a bond, building that rapport with people, and making people think you're a thoroughly decent and interesting guy. So there we go. Those were some tips that I think you can employ in your life to make yourself more genuinely interesting, not just for the people that you meet in life, but for you too. If you employ those habits in your life journey, your life will be richer, and you will, by nature, become a more interesting person. People will want to hear what you have to say. They will want to be in your company. They will invite you to all the best social functions if you can evidence to them that you are an interesting man. Now, I might have missed some things out here. If I have, tell me how you become more interesting. Drop it into the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Or you can ask me any question at all on the topics of men's style, self-development, or personal grooming. Drop it into an email. I would love to hear from you with a question that I can answer in a future video. And don't forget, if you've liked the video, give it a thumbs up, like it, and subscribe to see more like this. And if you want to join me on the journey to Chap Nirvana, you can do so by becoming one of my patrons. I make extra exclusive videos every week just for my patrons, and you can become a part of that team by clicking on the link in the show notes below. Tiny monthly fee, much more content. I'd love to have you alongside me. So until the next time, folks, in your new interesting life journey, take care, and I'll see you again very soon.